God damn do I love this song. The Battlefield theme that Swedish composer Joel Eriksson produced is easily some of the best video game music ever put together. Seriously, hip-hop's halftime show was amazing, but I wouldn't have had a problem if Snoop came out C-Walk into this. Today we're talking about one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time, and why it's still worth playing in 2022. Battlefield 1943 launched for Xbox 360 and PS3 on July 8, 2009. It launched as a digital exclusive, and is the 8th entry in the Battlefield series. At this point in my videos, I usually jump into the story, but 1943 is an exclusively online multiplayer shooter that takes place in the Pacific theater of World War II. So the story's basically... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And over in Europe...
Pup, I can't believe I fucked up my ass.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gameplay. "1943 plays largely the same as other Battlefield games you may be familiar with. The only available game mode at launch was the franchise's iconic Conquest mode. This mode requires you to capture flags across the map to lower your enemy's ticket bar. Once the enemy's ticket bar hits 0, your team wins and vice versa. When one team has majority control of the map, the opposing team's ticket meter will passively tick down. Without majority control, the only way to drop your enemy's ticket counter is by getting kills. To accomplish this, players will be put in the shoes of the United States Marine Corps or the Imperial Navy of Japan. You can pick between 3 classes to assist your team. Those classes are Rifleman, Infantry, and Scout. All of them have different abilities and weapons to fit your playstyle. Riflemen are armed with semi-automatic rifles along with rifle grenades, throwable grenades, and a bayonet. Infantry has a submachine gun with throwable grenades as well, and a rocket launcher. They also are equipped with a wrench that you can use to repair vehicles. And finally, the Scout class is armed with a sniper rifle, pistol, placeable explosives, and a katana or dagger depending on which side you're on. Despite the guns looking different and being used by separate factions, the weapons behave the same to their counterparts. An example of this would be the Thompson and the Type 100. Even though they have separate looks and reload animations, they behave largely the same. This includes passively replenished ammo and the occasional terrible hit detection. The majority of the time, the hit detection is very forgiving, giving you the ability to pull off some crazy shots. The player will be competing on one of 3 maps available on Conquest mode: Wake Island, Iwo Jima, and Guadalcanal. Each map is filled with vehicles for the player to use. We have jeeps with mounted guns, tanks that also have mounted guns, and planes that can be piloted. All the vehicles can be used in first person or third person, and they'll be needed to support your team to victory. Jeeps are useful to quickly navigate the map, tanks can help shake up hard-to-capture objectives, and planes can be used for bombing runs or dogfighting. Just watch out for the AA guns that are sprinkled throughout the maps. There are also full-fledged bombing runs you can access via bunkers on each of the maps. And if you can't get enough of the dogfighting, the game offers an air superiority mode. The mode has players spawn on an aircraft carrier, so they can hop in one of the available planes. From there, it's still Conquest, but only 1 point to capture, so all the aerial combat is in one spot. The unfortunate thing is air superiority doesn't have a huge player base. While I was able to get a full game in the main Conquest mode, this was not the case with air superiority. That being said, I still recommend this mode. The most I was ever able to get was 4v4, and that was with inviting 3 of my friends, but it was an absolute blast. Plus the mode adds the additional map Coral Sea to the game. I'm not very good at dogfighting, but it's so fun to be involved in these air skirmishes.
Danger zone!
1943 can come off as basic, having so few classes, maps, and modes. If you compare it to modern shooters, it is basic in many ways, but 1943 does one thing very well, and that's being fun as hell. The longest of matches last about 20 minutes, and the biggest a game can be is 12v12. This being the case, all the maps are balanced to keep action happening constantly. There's a squad system in the game allowing you to have up to 4 members and giving fellow squad mates the ability to spawn on you or them. When it comes to tagging enemies, you need to be aiming down sights when they are in range. The entire team can see the tag if they are nearby. There are also on-screen notifications when objectives are taken or lost. Everyone in the squad can mark objectives they want their fellow squad mates to focus on, and if combat gets heavily congested on one objective, the game will automatically mark it with crossed rifles, notifying all players to focus on that area. This allows for a feeling of all-out warfare despite having a smaller player population per game. What I'm saying here is it's Battlefield without the commitment. 1943 has an arcade feel to it, and still manages to offer exciting cinematic skirmishes without dedicating almost an hour for a match. I'm not trying to say I don't love the more sophisticated Battlefields. They're fantastic. I just happen to prefer this.
This is brilliant, but I like this.
The gameplay is top-tier stuff in my opinion, and I would even go as far to call it immersive with its gracefully aged presentation. Let's address the elephant in the room. This game came out almost 13 years ago, and you can see that with obvious lack of clarity around objects and character models. There is also a visual glitch that happens occasionally where black webs will fill the screen. 1943 has some dated textures and runs at 30 FPS, which would be a huge drawback if it wasn't for the color palette that was chosen for the game. The more I play games from this generation, the more I realize that exaggerated age is much better than attempted realistic colors and graphics. Take a moment to look at me right around in one of the boats I forgot to mention during the vehicle section of this review. The water in this may not look realistic, but the striking blue colors make me feel like I'm actually in the Pacific Theater. Every map looks beautiful with their own environmental effects, landscapes, and structures to set them apart. Presentation is only amplified by the sound design of the game. Crunchy gunfire along with eardrum rupturing explosions will make it feel like you're in shit. People will blow up before your eyes and leave you shell-shocked. When that's happening on a heavily populated objective, it will have you looking at your squad mates like, all the vehicles in the game sound great as well. I believe these planes weren't known to have the whistling noise and the dive bombing runs, but I don't really care on account that it's badass. Players can also keep track of their stats through the main menu. Looking through all the different stamps that you've been awarded is satisfying and allows you to understand what gameplay style is working for you. Something notable is there isn't much incentive to keep playing besides the game being very fun. You can't customize anything, and the only thing XP leads to is raising your rank. I can personally look past this, because like I said, the gameplay's fun as hell, and that matters more to me than a robust customization system, but I recognize I might be going a little easy on it in that aspect. 1943 may be dated in a lot of ways, and other Battlefield games in the franchise are packed with much more content. It's still debatably my favorite in the series. I wasn't PC gaming at the time of this game's predecessor, 1942. I would have loved to have played that game at its peak, but didn't, so I'm glad that I got to experience this game at its prime, and still having a player base today. It's a good time, and despite being smaller in scale, it manages to capture the Battlefield gameplay fans of the series love so much. This is something modern Battlefield games struggle with, and makes me believe that 1943 needs to be looked at more. If you want to play it, you can purchase it on Xbox Live and play it natively on Xbox 360 or via backwards compatibility. You can also purchase it on the PlayStation. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sony made the decision to shut down the PlayStation 3 store, so you can no longer purchase it on the PlayStation Network. But if you already own it, you can re-download it and play. There were plans for a PC port that were canceled by DICE to concentrate on development for Battlefield 3, so this game remains a console exclusive. You can't be too mad though, because the player base on console has kept this game alive for so long. Battlefield 1943 is an absolute blast to play, and it will be rare for me to recommend a multiplayer game more than I recommend this one. I hope I've inspired someone to try this game, or at least boot it up again. I do think it's something special, and I'd love to see more players storming the beaches of Wake Island. Maybe I'll see you out there.